All right, the next one we're going to do is we are going to find all solutions for 0 equals 2x squared plus x minus 1. Now, again, I'm going to try to factor this because factoring is the best way to find solutions, I think. Connect the first and the last with an arrow pointing in towards the middle. So we're looking for numbers that multiply up to 2 times negative 1, or in other words, multiplies to negative 2, and they need to add to the number in the middle. Now remember, you don't want the x, so we can always slide a 1 in. So I need them to add to positive 1. So we just need to think of pairs of numbers that fit this criteria, and it turns out that the two numbers we want are 2 and negative 1. So once you choose those numbers, we are going to use these numbers to replace this middle term right here. All right? In any order, it doesn't matter what order you go in, you'll get the same answer. So the 2x squared drops straight down. We've got a positive 2 and a negative 1. Positive 2, negative 1. And we're just going to stick an x next to each of them. And then this negative 1 is going to drop on down too. Alright, so my lovely ladies and gentlemen, we're going to finish this up by grouping it. So we're going to group there, group there. We're going to pull out the greatest common factor, or the biggest number that both of these have in common. They both have a 2 in common, and they both have an x. So what we've got to do is we've got to figure out 2x times what gives me 2x squared. Turns out that that's x. And then 2x times what gives me plus 2x. Now that's going to be plus 1, or a positive 1. Now, next we've got to figure out whether we bring down a plus sign or a minus sign. Since this guy right here is a minus sign, I want to bring out a minus. And we have to think of what these two both have in common. They both only have a 1. So we're going to bring down the 1. Now, negative 1 times what is negative 1x? Well, that's going to be positive x. And then negative 1 times what gives us negative 1? That's going to be positive 1. Now from here, you got to check that your parentheses are the same. If you did everything correctly, they should be. If they're different, it means either that this doesn't factor or that you missed the greatest common factor somewhere. Since they are the same for us, we're just going to take that and we're going to write it once. So there are the parentheses that matched. And then we're going to take these leftovers. We're going to take this 2x, this minus 1, and we're going to stick them in a parenthesis of their own. All right, well that's lovely. That is factored. But the problem said, what are the solutions? Now solutions, because it equaled 0 up here, what we get to do is we get to take each of these independently and set them equal to 0. So we need to say x plus 1 equals 0 and solve it by minusing 1 on both sides. Or in other words, we get x equals negative 1. And then we need to go over here. We need to say 2x minus 1 equals 0. So we need to add 1 to both sides. So 2x equals 1. And then we need to divide both sides by 2. So we get x equals 1/2 if you like the fraction versions, 0.5 if you plugged it in your calculator. So we get two solutions for that.